This review was made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
Hey guys, it's February, which means that it's once again time to return to Barbie show.
Hold on there, mister. Isn't Valentine's Day right around the corner?
It is.
So, don't you think you should cover something a bit more romantic? Sure, Barbie's nice and girly and all, but we need to focus more on true love this time around.
Well, what did you have in mind?
Well, first of all, if we're focusing on true love, you need a new suit, baby.
What are you... How'd you do that?
Oh, don't worry your pretty little head about that. You look gorgeous.
Well, thank you. But, what are we reviewing? Oh, come on! Yeah, we couldn't sit on this for very long, could we? Because I reviewed the 4th installment of the Swan Princess saga this last Christmas, we gotta cover the other movies just so we can finally find out how the rest of the story goes. If the 4th movie was any indication, I'm gonna say badly. Our first movie begins once upon a time with King William, who is sad that he has no son to inherit the throne. But then his queen gets knocked up by the pot convenience fairy or something, and he is soon blessed with a daughter, who may or may not have the same potential of inheriting his kingdom as a son would, so yeah, this is a joyous occasion, certainly, but I'm not sure this fixes his problem. Of course, the neighboring royalty are invited to welcome the newborn Princess Odette into the world. Oh look, someone gave her a full head of hair. That sure was nice of them. It's here where young Prince Derek gives his regards, and both of their parents hit upon the same idea.
Derek and Odette would be brought together each summer in hopes that they would fall in love and join their kingdoms forever.
Or, you know, you could join the kingdoms by marrying them without loving each other, which is kind of what happened back then. We're then introduced to Lord Rothbart, alive and well, who wants to take over William's kingdom. In this movie, he's voiced by none other than Jack Palance. William banishes him from his kingdom before he can try anything, but I don't know. There are better ways of dealing with a backstabbing Palance.
What a day.
A few years after Rothbart's banishment, which I'm sure will not bite William in the ass later on, Derek and Odette are reintroduced to each other, and neither of them are enjoying the experience.
I can't believe I'm stuck with her all summer. Oh, but she doesn't wrestle, hunt, or box.
The children seem to get along quite nicely.
We'll join our lands if this arrangement clicks.
Oh, what the heck, this song is so familiar. Or have I heard it? I can't tell. I know I've heard it once before. Let me think a minute more. Oh, wait, it's Weird Buff from the movie That Has Bell. I mean, come on. You couldn't be a little more creative with this opening song? Okay, so it's better than the auto-tuned garbage that awaits us in 3 more movies, but still. During this musical montage, wherein Derek and Odette spent every summer together for the better part of 20 years, we see that Odette is something of a bookworm, she has an affinity for older men, and she is really good at playing cards. If you think this last little trait might allude to her being skilled in the ways of strategy, I hope you enjoyed this scene, because you will never see her think strategically again.
This isn't my idea of fun.
But then, from out of nowhere...
I see him smiling and my knees start buckling. I see inside him my doubts are gone.
She started out as such an ugly duckling, and somehow suddenly became a swan.
Suddenly? What suddenly? I think there was one summer where she wasn't much to look at, but ever since then, she looked more or less like she has for the last several years. Why are you only now noticing her beauty? Undeniably, this is a tale of true love. They've known each other for years, they've hated each other otherwise, but now they've noticed that they're a little bit doable, so now they're thinking, hey, want a bone? Ah, l'amour. Now Derek and Odette are all gooey-eyed for each other while they rip off the end of Sleeping Beauty, and Derek commands that they start the marriage.
You're all I ever wanted. You're beautiful.
Thank you. But what else?
What else?
Is beauty all that matters to you?
What else is there?
And their marriage was never consummated because he spent the rest of his life sleeping on the royal couch. You know, seeing as how this movie is more about lust than it is about true love, I guess that means that the suit is...
You're still wearing the suit.
Of course I'm still wearing the suit. So yeah, unsurprisingly, Odette is just a little turned off by how they've spent years together, and he knows nothing about her. But hey, it could be worse. If this were the real world, she'd be told to suck it up and marry Derek anyway.
You must see something other than Odette's beauty.
Oh, of course I do, Rogers. She's like, you know, how about... And then... I mean, right?
You know, when Aladdin described Jasmine as such to the genie, he had the benefit of only having known her for, what, an hour? He's not going to really learn that much about her in the short time they've been together. Again, Derek and Odette have spent years together. He has no excuse for knowing absolutely nothing about her.
I just don't understand. What else did you want him to say?
Anyone who thinks that my daughter is extremely doable is good enough to be my son-in-law. But then Rothbard attacks by turning into a giant bat thingy, and he kidnaps Odette, killing William in the process. Word of this reaches Derek, who rushes out to help.
Oh, King William.
Derek,
Who did this?
it came so quickly.
Okay, I didn't ask if it was fast or not.
A great animal.
A great animal. Was it a bear? A gorilla? An elephant?
It's not what it seems. It's not what it seems.
Alright, in what way is it not what it seems? Is it a guy in a costume? Is it an elaborate puppet? A robot in disguise?
Odette is gone.
Yes, I know that she's gone. Where is she? Yeah, in all that time, how easy would it have been to simply say, Rothbard attacked us? I don't think you're gonna find too many Rothbards to investigate. Anyway, Rothbard takes Odette to his castle, which he apparently went out of his way to make beautiful instead of ugly like he would in the fourth movie, and he turns Odette into a swan off-screen.
This sort of thing doesn't give me any pleasure.
He's right, you know. Bridget knows a thing or two about what gives big naughty pleasure. Thankfully, Bridget here remains more or less silent throughout the movie, giving us little to ponder over what the nature of her relationship with Rothbard really is. He explains to Odette that only the moonlight on the lake will turn her back to her normal self, then she'll turn into a swan when the moonlight is gone. This somehow traps her on the lake, even though there's no mention of whether or not she'll turn into a swan if she leaves. And even if she does turn back into a swan if she leaves, what's stopping her from finding Derek and leading him back to the lake where she'll be human again? But yeah, she's apparently stuck here until she agrees to marry him, so he'll have her kingdom legally. We jump back to Derek, who quit his search for Odette pretty quickly, and instead begins a training montage by dressing up his servants as animals. Apparently, he's completely ignoring Williams' warning of, it's not what it seems, and is instead focusing on how she was taken by a great animal. What kind of great animal would take someone and not immediately eat them? I think time may be an issue here, Derek.
No!
No. I call bullshit. Go ahead and make him out to be a badass and all, but that is impossible!
Don't lose hope, Odette. Wherever you are, I'm gonna find you.
Yeah, finding someone is actually more effective when you go out looking for them. Maybe you should try doing that. We jump back to the never-named Swan Lake, where we meet Odette's little animal friends, Speed and Jean Bob, the latter of whom is voiced by John Cleese.
Go ahead and laugh. I'll get her to kiss me. And when she does...
And when she does, poof, you'll change into a prince. I know, you've told me.
Why do you think I have this outrageous accent, you silly king? What are you doing in England? Mind your own business.
He also thinks he's a prince. Why does he think he's a prince when he's been living his entire life as a frog? Never explained. And of course, Odette can't just kiss Jean Bob and put an end to his delusions because reasons.
I can only kiss the man I love, and then he
must make a vow of everlasting love. I know.
and prove it to the world.
Okay, ignoring how that doesn't make any sense, since she's still a princess, isn't she? How exactly is Derek supposed to declare his love to the world? I don't think Twitter's a thing yet. Then she starts singing a song about how she and Derek belong together. I'm noticing that she doesn't have much to say about him aside from how obviously attractive she thinks he is.
I see him smiling and my knees start buckling. I see inside him and my doubts are gone.
So what's wrong for him to admire her for nothing but her beauty, but it's okay for her to be all gaga over him for exactly the same thing. I just love double standards.
Far longer than forever, I'll hold you in my heart. It's almost like you're here with me.
Wow. Him not being there is almost like him being there. That's how little impact you have on each other's lives.
Far longer than forever.
Far longer than forever.
We'll always have the sequel. Oh, so many sequels. Then Odette and her friends meet this passing puffin named Puffin. Imaginative, I know. He's here to add that much little more marketability to the movie, instead of doing anything actually relevant to the plot. Wait a minute. Is Odette walking on water? Is she Jesus? Lady, you're the second coming of Christ! I think that should trump anything that Rothbard could throw at you! Back at Derek's castle, his mother is preparing a ball to help Derek find a new bride. So it's not even about combining these two kingdoms anymore, it's just about making sure he gets married off. Any princess in a storm, I guess. But Derek doesn't have time for that, as he thinks he might have figured out what was meant by the great animal isn't what it seems.
They're coming, Derek!
Derek, where are you going?
To find the great animal.
Oh, wonderful. Just make sure you're here tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
The ball.
Please, Mother, don't turn it into one of your beauty pageants.
Come on, Mother. Must you cater to the one and only thing I care about? Derek theorizes that a great animal who isn't what it seems must be a shapeshifter. So what does he do with that theory? He wanders aimlessly through the woods, hunting down anything he can find. And even Odette herself is safe from this stupid theory. Way to go, dumbass. Odette and Puffin briefly get away by flying directly into the sun, and... Wait a minute. How did Derek get over there so fast? Damn, he's faster than he looks. He's not what he seems. Die, great animal! She eventually leads Derek back to the lake. I just love it when characters take my suggestions. Where she takes on her true form. Not Beauty or the Beast. My god. Now the great animal has taken the form of Odette. Do not mock me, monster! Rothbard horns in on their bland, passionate love, and Odette tells Derek that the only way to break the curse is to declare his love for her to the world.
The ball. Tomorrow night, come to the castle. Before the whole world, I will make a vow of everlasting love.
Odette!
Rothbard overhears everything, but he isn't worried.
Come to the ball. I will make a vow of everlasting love.
I will marry Prince Derek, and you cannot stop me.
Oh, I hate to tell you this, Odette, but you won't be able to attend the big ball tomorrow night. You've forgotten one very important thing tomorrow night. There is no moon.
Right. right? And since it was always kind of sort of implied that she can only be herself while at the lake, if she went to the ball, she would have to be a swan anyway. What's your point?
No matter what they do, I'm always one step ahead. On the other hand, Prince Derek's vow could ruin everything.
Then you can't exactly say you're one step ahead now, can you? He comes up with a new plan, which is to take Bridget here and have her pose as Odette.
When he makes his vow to the wrong girl, Odette will die.
And then my plan to take over her kingdom by marrying her will really go into motion. Wait, what? Oh, hooray! Time for another pointless musical number.
When I'm king, they'll treat me with respect. I can't wait to watch their poor hearts breaking. So much for politically correct. Up till now, I pull my punches. I intend to eat their lunches. No more Mr. Nice Guy. No siree.
Wait, so on a whim, you could just magic up 3 women who are also mentally in sync with you? They make for perfect backup singers? Why would anyone want the kind of power that he wants when they could just create women who are all too eager to do your bidding? You don't need a kingdom to do that. Ugh, back at Derek's castle, he's more on board with the ball that his mother's throwing.
I don't want red roses. I want white. Like a swan. Would you feed this to a swan? Take it back. Something light, something fresh.
Okay, so you're on some kind of a swan kick for this ball of yours. Fine, whatever. Why are you not more horrified by them serving pâté? For the less culinarily inclined in my audience, that's goose liver.
Tonight, the music must be played rubato. Soft and graceful. Like a swan.
A swan?
You ever seen a swan, Rogers?
Of course I've seen a swan.
If you could play a swan, what would it sound like?
I don't know, like a hand puppet? And he's looking for music for a swan? This scene is begging for Rogers here to indulge us with Tchaikovsky's ballet from Swan Lake. Why doesn't he do that? So the ball begins, and the visiting princesses are eager to strut their stuff, including this Germanic knight princess, who looks like some kind of medieval cyborg. I want to see her movie. No, seriously, nobody outfits their face with pieces of armor for beautification purposes. Those have to be there because she got horribly mangled in battle at some point. I want to see her leading her troops and saving her kingdom from invaders. It's gotta be a lot more entertaining than this horse hockey. And why are only 4 princesses attending this ball? What was up with those 2 bags of RSVPs from earlier? Oh well, who cares? Bridget shows up disguised as Odette, and Derek promptly declares his love for her.
I have an announcement to make. Today, I have found my bride. I make a vow of everlasting love.
Derek!
To Odette.
Oh no! He declared his love for Odette, which means that the curse is lifted. Why is this a bad thing? Yeah, it's not like Bridget did anything to make him not love Odette anymore, so as he declares his love to the world, I love Odette, shouldn't that be enough? Well, anyway, Rothbard shows up to tell Derek that his little not mistake is somehow causing Odette to kinda sorta die, and Derek follows her back to the lake.
Odette? What have I done to you? I made the vow for her. Do you hear? The vow I made was for her!
No need to shout.
Don't let her die.
Is that a threat?
No, it was a request. Rothbard turns into the great animal again. Imagine that, the giant monster bat was actually an evil sorcerer. How very not like what it seems. They have a little fight scene, and it's over just as quickly as it begins. Wow. This final battle scene with Rothbard was so inconsequential, you could literally edit it completely out of the movie, and you wouldn't even notice. No, really, check it out.
Odette! Forgive me. I only wanted to break the spell.
Removing the villain completely from the movie should not be this easy.
I love you. Your kindness and courage.
Kindness and courage? When did she have a chance to show you those? It's good that you're looking for something more to compliment than just her beauty, but she literally showed you nothing more of herself. But whatever, this is enough to bring her back to life, because true love and stuff.
Well, there you have it. Everlasting love.
Thank you, Puffin, who is now acting as the narrator seconds before the movie ends.
Well, there you have it. Everlasting love.
There may be something there that wasn't there before.
So the movie ends with Derek and Odette, maybe getting married. I say maybe because it's weird that either of them become king or queen. Odette kisses Jean-Bob, who does not turn into a prince. Except he thinks he does when he sees another prince in his reflection he shouldn't recognize. And they all lived happily ever until the first of too many sequels came. So that was The Swan Princess, and this isn't my idea of fun. It plays itself up to be the end-all of love stories, but it's just bland and forgettable. The story is cookie-cutter, the characters are shallow, the songs are pointless filler that blatantly rip off Disney, the villain's plans don't make a lick of sense, and again, what was the point in making a movie based on a ballet by Tchaikovsky if you aren't going to use any of the ballet by Tchaikovsky? If you're really that embarrassed by the source material, maybe you shouldn't make this into a movie, DC Comics, Nest Family Entertainment. But sadly, just like another notorious film by Richard Rich, this too got a whole bunch of sequels in spite of its poor box office receipts and lukewarm critical reception. So, be sure to tune in next time when Swan Princess Month continues. See you later.
Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Deadpool. In fact, it usually does. 'Cause you look like my balls under that hood, Deadpool. Just thinking of it kills my buzz.
You know, normally that would have just hurt my feelings, but damn it, I've always wanted to be in a musical.
There's no man in town as reviled as you, and hell, they all wish you would die. Even though you've proven quite tricky to kill, everyone's going to try. No one's
Slick as Deadpool, no one's quick as Deadpool. No one punches you right in the dick like Deadpool, for there's no man in town half-as, ooh, chimichanga. Perfect, give up man, it's gone. You can ask Anna, Natty, or Betsy, and they'll tell you whose team they prefer to be on. No one's fun like Deadpool, shoots his gun like Deadpool.
Heroes should not kill in time like Deadpool.
My kill count is really intimidating. They killed that guy, that Deadpool. When I was a boy, I humped this unicorn every morning to help me get off. But lately I'm thinking I might hump the Hulk. Tell me, what is that like, Roman off?
Jokes like Deadpool or books like Deadpool. No one else has an eager to stroke like Deadpool.
You guys want a spoon and watch Conan later?
No!
My, what a guy.
Subscribe.